Thank you, Liz. Buenos días. Bienvenidos. It is so good to be with you all this morning. Welcome to all who are with us in person and online. Those of us in the sanctuary, please don't be shy about wearing your coats or at any point in time grabbing your coats. We are still sans boiler, but that is in process. I'm the Reverend Katie Romano Griffin, your senior minister. My pronouns are she, her, or Aisha. Along with Nancy Olson, pronouns she, her. Gabe Berbieri, our music director, pronouns he, him. Nancy Rogers Baney, Marolyn Knight, Liz Elmore, pronouns she, her. We are your worship team on the chancel today. People of all ages are joyfully welcomed in service, and nursery care is available if that's what works best for you. I invite you to please complete a connection card, especially if you have new contact information. If there's a comment or a question you'd like to share, you're able to place this in the offering basket when it comes around. We will have a short congregational meeting in the social hall after service and before we commence with our post-service groups. So if you were planning on attending a group workshop, a class, or a conversation, we're still having those today, just a little más tarde, a little bit later. Everyone, including guests, are welcome in the social hall for snacks and conversation and the town hall. We care about everyone's thoughts. If I can just see a quick show of hands, I heard that there was something like 28 volunteers for Fall Fest yesterday. So if you're one of those amazing volunteers, can you please give us a little hand? Our volunteers, there we go. Some folks made it. Thank you. Thank you so much for that important ministry. My heart was very much with you all yesterday. This is the first Fall Fest I've missed, but I was with Phil Soper and Teresa Quay at the Sacred Places Indiana Landmarks Grant meeting, and that was awesome. So on December 8th, we are going to do an asset mapping congregationally, which asset mapping sounds like it might be boring, but I promise you it is going to be a ton of fun and super hopeful and super engaging, because I think, thought going into this experience that our congregation was awesome, but once we started really thinking about all of the assets that we have in our congregation, not just physical, tangible things, but who we are as a community, we were like, oh my gosh, we are so awesome, we can do anything. And I want you all to be engaged in that process too. So save the date, December 8th. I have another announcement. I feel like good news lady today. I like this. So as you all know, Nancy Olson came out of retirement after we had a quick transition, and on a phone call from a minister she'd only met twice, said, yes, I will come back to the congregation and serve in an acting role. Well, after about 2 years of exploring the role, we have come to understand what the role needs to be. And Nancy will be staying on indefinitely, no longer as acting. And the new position is called the Director of Congregational Life and Faith Formation. So we will continue testing and implementing in this phase, but we are grateful and we are excited. As we continue our time together, let us acknowledge the land itself and those who've sustained it through the generations. We are upon the unceded land of the Lenape, Miamia, Kaskaskia, Shawnee, and Kickapoo people who were pushed from their land and whose children have been stolen for generations. As we strive to be a community of justice, may we continue to find ways to make real reparations.
Ancestors, Those who come before us on our ancestry tree, even if we never met, are still a part of me. Some we knew well and loved them dearly. And even if they're gone now, here we name them yearly. The memories we will always hold keeps them near to our heart, and their energy will always, of the universe, be a part.
Ada's going to light our chalice today. Back there. Speaking of ancestors, I thought maybe we'd just take a moment and think of people you know who are our ancestors, maybe people you did know long ago, maybe people you have read about as far as our congregation is concerned, and just take a moment and perhaps hold them in your mind and in your heart. And as we say our chalice together, remember how they also have been saying this chalice lighting for the last 120 years. So we bring them with us in so many ways, but certainly as we say this covenant together. Just take a moment and bring those people to our minds. And now we'll say our covenant, we will speak it in Spanish first, as we like to do. El amor es el... Oh, please, existe iglesia. Y el servicio es su ley. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor, y ayudarnos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. Thank you. And you may be seated.
I am honored to get to talk with you about Mary Branson, one of the truly greats of All Souls history. Mary was religious education director in the 70s and the 80s. She did an outstanding job of having a well-organized, rich spiritual education program. I always learned a great deal from the enriching curriculum. Mary was also one of the first women board presidents of the church. In addition, she and her long-term husband, Bob, raised 4 daughters. She was an excellent artist, as you can see her paintings around the church, including the one in Social Hall of Reverend Ed Harris that I just love. Mary was an exceptional professional woman role model. She always had a poised, calm demeanor, showing a great deal of grace. One of my favorite stories about Mary was when I was working at coffee hour. She asked that we pour her coffee. She wanted a half cup of caffeine and a half cup of decaf, and she wanted them poured at the same time. And I told her if there was anyone in the church that deserved to have the coffee the way they wanted, it was her. And we still call that the Mary Branson. So if you like your coffee that way, just ask for the Mary Branson. I am going to end with a very descriptive quote that Mary wrote about All Souls. A church where you don't have to check your brain at the door, a church school for our children to teach them not that they are depraved, sinful beings, but they have unlimited potential for goodness and achievement. All Souls is not the building, not the philosophy of liberal religion, but the people who provide the love, which is the spirit of this church.
What a beautiful, beautiful remembrance of an amazing human who helped create this space that we're in today. Thank you, Marolyn. And thank you, Nancy, our poet laureate for this year. We have another Titan that we've been grieving, Dorothy Huffman. Can you all hear me okay? There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Thank you. We've also been grieving Dottie Huffman. And I wanted to let you know that her amazing daughter, Martha, has decided to fund a harpsichord concert here, and we just need to get that on the calendar, and it will be in Dottie's name. What a wonderful way to remember her. And then we will have a celebration of life on April 5th. I'm present to the ambient anxiety in the air this day as we move closer to November 5th. I'm present to the knowing that there's many joys and sorrows in our hearts. So let us hold these in our hearts with song as we sing our children out to their group time, and we remember that the life we've lived speaks for us.
Let the life I've lived speak for me. Let the life I've lived speak for me. Let the life I've lived speak for me. When I come to the end of this road, when I come to the end of this road, and I lay down my heavy load, let the life I've lived speak for me. Would you please stand up if you're able and willing to sing with me? Let the work I've done, let the work I've done speak for me. Let the work I've done speak for me. When I come to the end of this road, and I lay down my heavy load, let the work I've done speak for me. Let the love I've shared, let the love I've shared speak for me. Let the love I've shared speak for me. When I come to the end of this road, and I lay down my heavy load, let the love I've shared speak for me. Let the friends I've met, let the friends I've met speak for me. Let the friends I've met speak for me. When I come to the end of this road, and I lay down my heavy load, let the friends I've met speak for me. Let the life I've lived, let the life I've lived speak for me. but you don't need to be looking at me right now. Look around the congregation. See the faces that you are sharing the life with. And sing with me, "Let the friends I've made speak for me." Let the friends I've made speak for me. Let the friends I've made speak for me. When I come to the end of this road and I lay down my heavy load, let the friends I've met speak for me. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Often at our celebrations of life services, I make the proclamation that as Unitarian Universalists, a life well lived is the greatest statement of faith. At times like this, it's a good time to look at our calendars and to look at our checkbooks, how we spend our time, how we spend our money, according to one of my mentors, the Reverend Mary Morrissey. That shows how we're living our values. So my invitation to you is to go home and check your calendars, be they digital or paper or sticky notes on the fridge. This week, we are sharing our offering plate with another worthy organization, Indie Reads. And they live out our UU values through their bookstore and the ESL classes they teach and the many, many accessible programs that they have in our community. To contribute, you can gift cash or a check into the collection plate, or you can go to allsoulsindie.org. With gratitude, today's offering will now be received.
You are not forgotten.
Sing with me. Love is love is love is love. Love is love is love is love. Oh, love is love is love is love. Oh, love is love is love is love. Oh, love, love, love. All we need is love, love, love. All we need is love, love, love. All we need is love, love. And repeat this line with me. All we need is love, love, love. All we need is love, love. And keep repeating this line, and I'm gonna do something different. Love is love is love.
all we need is love. The Beatles got that right. And it is at the center of our values as Unitarian Universalists. It is our true north on our compass that will always lead us to something greater in life, whether it is a grand new adventure or whether it guides us through a treacherous road. Last week, C.C. Russell Jane shared a story about a woman who was so tired of loss that she named only things that would outlive her, her car, her house. As we age, we lose lifelong friends, mentors, elders, siblings, people who are irreplaceable to us. Poet Rupi Kaur witnesses this pain in this poem. I hardened under the last loss. It took something from me. I used to be so deeply emotional I'd crumble on demand, but now the water has made its exit. Of course, I care about the ones around me. I'm just struggling to show it all. A wall is getting in the way. I used to dream that I was so strong, nothing could shake me. Now, I am so strong that nothing shakes me, and I dream to soften. Loss can make us numb. It can make us so strong. And society calls for us to be strong, but with the numbness can come isolation and emptiness. This can be a place where our faith, our belief in what comes next, can help us. For some of us, we believe we will be reunited with our loved ones in the afterlife. Some of us believe we can communicate with them, especially at times like these, close to the pagan final harvest of Samhain, when the veil between life and death is thin. You may believe that we return to the sky, watching over our loved ones forever, because we are stardust, or because you have another theology that tells you this. Well, we no longer have our loved one to call on the phone when something amazing happens or when we need to decompress from our day. Perhaps we have their photo, their painting, their tombstone, their ashes, or something else that we speak to. This doesn't lessen the pain of loss, but it can help things feel less final. For others of us, we take comfort in the law of conservation, which states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form of energy to another. Others of us find our loved ones still living in our memories, and they live again when we tell their stories. And sometimes we see them show up in the tilt of a family member's head, in the shape of a thumb, sometimes even on our own hands. Each loss is different, and we rest with each loss differently. Poet Alfred Lloyd Tennyson once said, "'Tis better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all." As I was preparing for today, as I so often do, I talked to my mom. And I said, "Mom, is it okay for me to tell the people that when someone says that to me after a loss, I just want to slap them?" And she said, "Yes, dear." It can be so hard to hear things like, "Isn't it good that you had that love?" Or, "It was God's plan and there's something bigger happening right now." It can be really hard to hear those things when we first have a loss, and maybe our universalism is tested and we think,
in a little Ally McBeal moment, if anyone remembers that show, when you're in your head and you're like, I'm coming for you. But no, we don't actually do that, but we might think it. It's hard to hear those things. They feel like platitudes. But at a different point, later in the grief process, perhaps something like that might be helpful. Kubler-Ross's stages of grief promise acceptance at some point. We've learned over time that Kubler-Ross was actually talking about people who'd had a terminal diagnosis and how they moved through that process. She wasn't actually talking about those of us who'd lost a loved one. And what we know is that grief comes in waves, and we might find a point of acceptance along the wave right before we're crying in the grocery store reaching for a can of beans because we're having a memory. But at some point in our process, things like Tennyson's quote can support us, because in our grieving, there are times when we do feel so grateful for that love. And we find ways to share that love forward. And in the beating of our heart, in that moment of love and connection with another human, our beloved lives through us. And in the beating of our hearts, we just learn to live with the grief. Poet Jan Richardson describes loss and living with grief in this poem. Let us agree for now that we will not say the breaking makes us stronger, or that it is better to have this pain than to have done without this love. Let us promise we will not tell ourselves time will heal the wound, when every day our waking opens it anew. Perhaps for now it can be enough to simply marvel at the mystery of how a heart so broken can go on beating, as if we were made for precisely this, as if it knows the only cure for love is more of it, as if it sees the heart's sole remedy for breaking is to love still, as if it trusts that its own persistent pulse is the rhythm of a blessing we cannot begin to fathom, but will save us nonetheless. Our rituals of remembrance help us to find our strength without being so strong that the love cannot get in or out. Rituals are a bridge between our numbness, the complete shutdown, and the rage to finding love in the presence of loss. Our rituals are a place to let the memories, the love, the joy, the tears, the anger, and other feelings rise and flow. We make space for our feelings now as we enter this ritual of remembrance. Some folks have already helped to build our altar, and Gabe is going to sing the names of our departed in just a moment, as those who have not yet had the opportunity come forward to place an item of remembrance on the altar, and you'll be able to take it home with you later, or to use one of the pencils and paper and write the name of someone you're holding in your heart today on the altar as well. Let us remember those that we have loved and lost and continue to love with the beating of our hearts.
Sing with me. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. Josh Cartley.
You are not forgotten.
Richard Romano.
You are not forgotten.
not forgotten.
In Middleton,
You are not forgotten.
Miss Evelyn Rogers,
You are not forgotten.
Betsy Matthew,
You are not forgotten.
Paula Jean Pike,
You are not forgotten.
Linda McSnaddon Schmid,
You are not forgotten.
Jordan Harvard,
You are not forgotten.
Gary Baney,
You are not forgotten.
Ted Cobb,
You are not forgotten.
Jackie Curry,
You are not forgotten.
Carol Visual,
You are not forgotten.
Jeff Harmon,
You are not forgotten.
Maureen P.
You are not forgotten.
and Stephen,
You are not forgotten.
Mary Colley,
You are not forgotten.
Olson,
You are not forgotten. 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 You are not forgotten.
Roger Gosling,
You are not forgotten.
Jack Willie McAdam,
You are not forgotten.
Louis Hancock,
You are not forgotten.
Latislaus Cisneros,
You are not forgotten.
Leila Cox, Langford,
You are not forgotten.
Glenn Gosling,
You are not forgotten.
Lawrence B.
You are not forgotten.
I give to you these words, which were my contribution by Blessings on Your Journey, published by Meadville Lombard in 2024. We begin with a quote you may have heard me share before by Sikh poet and activist Valerie Kaur, who poignantly reminds us that grief is the price of love. And the reading continues that in the intricate tapestry of life, goodbyes are inevitable. They may be farewells to parts of ourselves as we evolve, to loved ones lost through transitions, death, or familiar places left behind in pursuit of new opportunities. Amidst these transitions, we find ourselves immersed in a complex dance of love, joy, and grief, inextricably intertwined within our own hearts. May these simple words offer solace as we navigate this dance of life's transitions. Queridísima Diosa y amados antepasados, guide us in body, mind, and spirit as we navigate this journey called life. Open our souls, our hearts, our minds to move with the music stirring within as we release what must be released and welcome that which is ours to hold at this moment. Hold us as we spin through moments of frustration, anger, hurt, or loss. Lift us when we need hope and let us soar high in times of rejoicing. Lend us energy to stay engaged in the dance when we are tired and exhausted. Invite us to dance in a way that blesses us and others. And when our minds trick us into thinking we are isolated, remind us that we are not dancing alone. May it be so. Que así sea. Amen.
Celebrate. Celebrate having known them. Celebrate their warmth and depth, the humor that was ever there, the joy, courage, hope, and pain we were privileged to share. Celebrate immortality achieved by their influence on children and friends, immortality through remembrance.